Hello and welcome back to the Honest Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why we do this on a Friday night? Because Friday night is horror night. We are joined tonight by a guest from the States. Is special effects and makeup on such movies, upcoming movies as The Watchdog. You might have seen me post about late checkout recently. Dark Circles with obviously friend of the show Kate Kiddo in there. Crust, Macabre Mountain, The Forest Hills, obviously Scott uh, and whatnot, doing some good job there, getting Shelley Duvall back.
Oh yeah.
The Houses Amongst the Trees, and one that starred a little minor film called Zombieland 2. How are you,
Just a
Mr.
little
Deryk
one.
Wehrley?
Doing good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Did I miss something?
No, no. It's yeah, just very minor film. Well, it's just a little one. Backyard movie with some friends called Zombieland 2.
Yeah, some friends, only a no good actor called Woody
Yeah.
Harrelson,
Oh,
Jesse
that would.
Eisenberg, Emma Stone.
Oh, we all go way back.
Oh,
We've been pals
yeah,
for years.
yeah. Sure. Grand. No, that was a cracking movie. What a one to get on as well.
Oh man, that was an awesome movie to work on. Tons of fun. I was on it for about a month. I worked on that in March of 2019. Down in Atlanta, Georgia. I had actually been. It's funny. I was actually on a makeup hiatus at that time. I wasn't really doing much, and a girl I was dating at the time was working on a movie, and her production office was right next to Zombieland. She's like, "Dude, you should apply. You should apply." I'm like, She's like, "Just do it." So I sent them my resume and some pictures of my work, and Tony Gardner, who was the head of makeup, was like, "Oh, this is great. We'd
Great.
love to hire you." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, let's do this." He's like, "Are you an Atlanta local?" And at the time, I was living in Dayton, Ohio, in my friend's basement. And I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, I just moved to Atlanta like 2 weeks ago. How crazy is that?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, we'd love to have you on. We'll hire you as a local. We'll pay you the union rate. Blah 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 blah." I'm like, so I had to go into my job and tell them, "Hey, I need to take the next month off." And they're like, "What?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, hey, I got to go to Atlanta for a little while." They're like, "What? What?" Yeah, it's like, I signed an NDA, so I can't tell you, but I'm working on Zombieland 2. And they're like, "What is that?" Because I was working in this like Christian choir book warehouse where they
Mm.
like were mailing out hymnals and Bibles and stuff. So nobody like knew what that was. And I'm like, I will explain later. Just I need to take a month off. And they're like, "We can't pay you." And I was like, "That's fine. I'm getting paid for this thing, so it's fine." So I stayed in an Airbnb down in Atlanta for a month and went and worked on that movie. And man, it was a great time. I was doing mid-ground, background zombie makeups. I was doing anywhere from like 6 to 10 makeups in a night, and we
Nice,
were filming all overnight. So it was crazy.
nice, nice. I'd say it went on to do quite well as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, it was. I don't think, no joke, I don't think I'd be where I am right now had I not gotten that random gig. Because after I worked on that, it's like everyone's like, "We need to work with this guy. He worked on Zombie," and I'm like, "Well, I mean, yeah, I did," with like 37 other makeup artists, and none of us got credit. So it was a great experience. It was a great experience. I'm mad I never got to meet Woody Harrelson, but it's okay. It's okay.
That's not okay.
I did meet Emma Stone for like 4 seconds, and it was the greatest 4 seconds of my life.
That works too. That works too.
Do what?
That works too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was so. I was walking to set, and I had these two bags on my shoulders, and I'm kind of like a little guy. These bags are like humongous, so I'm like going down a hill that's like at this angle. I'm like, this sucks so bad. And I hear this very familiar voice behind me. It's like, "Excuse me, can I get by you?" And I turn around, and it's Emma Stone. And I'm like, "Ugh, I'm so sorry, I'm in your way." And I like, she's like, "No, no, no, you're fine, you're fine. What's your name?" I'm like,
I,
"I'm
uh,
Derek."
uh, yep.
She's like, "Oh, hi, I'm Emma." I'm like, I know who you are. It's fine. And she's like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I'm part of the makeup team." She's like, "You guys are doing so amazing. Keep up the good work." And I'm like, I will, Emma.
I'll try just for you.
Just for you, I will try my best. And then she just went on her way. And
What you should have done was just roll down the hill with the bags.
like just go falling. It was cool. It was she was so sweet, and I saw Jesse Eisenberg walking around a lot. Same with Rosario Dawson and all them. But
Abigail Breslin as well, obviously in there as well.
Yeah, I saw her very, very briefly. Didn't get to talk to her or anything. But Woody was like kind of off doing his own thing, and it's like everybody is like different on those sets. I mean, whether it's on an indie project or up to Hollywood, we all have a different process and how we prepare for things, and so I think his kind of thing, he liked a lot of quiet because it's loud and there's a lot going on set, and I'm sure it's hard to focus sometimes, but he seemed really, really cool, and everyone who went to the rap party said he was awesome. So
Didn't even go to the rap party.
I didn't get invited to the rap party.
Motherfuckers.
Can you believe that? I was like, what's funny is one of the makeup artists that I became friends with, her name's Tara. She was like, "Did you get invited to the rap party?" I'm like, "I didn't." And she's like, "Neither did I." And I was like, "Man, if you and some of the other people," I was like, "let's have our own rap party. Let's get like a group. We'll go out for drinks." And so she's like, "Yeah." And then I never heard from her or anyone else. I'm like, okay, this is weird. And then I see pictures of her at the rap party, and I'm like, "Did you lie to me?" And she swears up.
100% lied to you.
100%. So I texted my buddy Roy, who was also. I was like, "Can you believe this shit?" I sent him a selfie. He's like, "Dude, what the fuck, man?" And it was very funny. We joke about it today.
Emma Stone really turned around and was like, "That lad Deryk cannot go."
Yeah. Did you see the way he oogled at me? Don't let him. Do not let him in the party.
Absolutely. To be fair, I wouldn't let Shane either.
Dude. If a guy like this shows up at the rap party, you're not gonna let that guy in. No, don't let that guy in.
Sorry, you've had too much tonight.
Yeah. I haven't even been drinking. Yeah, that's the problem. Get out of here. But yeah, overall, that shoot was a ton of fun. And after a long, what was that? I think at that point, almost 3 years of not doing makeup. That being my first gig back was like very eye-opening to me because it was the biggest thing I'd worked on with on-set work. And, it kind of reminded me how much I liked doing that type of thing. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing this again. And from that point on, it's just been nonstop, anywhere from 7 to 12 projects a year that I'm trying to like crunch in there, and anything from short films, proof of concept, to up to feature films of all kinds. I'm always filling my schedule out for sure.
I mean, you got to do something to pay the bills.
Wait, I'm supposed to get paid?
No.
Oh gosh.
No, let's be fair now. Let's be fair. You don't get paid. The money just goes in, taken straight away by the bank.
Yes, it goes in and taxes, and then it's gone. And yeah, or it just goes right back into it. But you know what? If I make enough to balance it all out, that's all that matters. As long as I can keep doing it, I guess.
I mean, once you get the hunger back, though, I'd say it was great to just go, right, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so easy to be like, man, wish I was making more money on this. But then you get to set and it's like, this is a lot of fun. I'm kind of, you pay me with fun, and there's always a lot of that.
No, you can keep paying me with fun. Keep paying me with money.
Pay me some money to balance it out, and then the fun will be. That's my profit.
The fun will be there. Like it obviously helps when you enjoy doing what you're doing, though.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's super important with anything you do in life, is that you're enjoying it. If you're miserable, don't keep up with it. If you're miserable, your day job or a hobby, it's like, find something new, because life's too short to not have fun with it. And
you only get one chance at it.
Absolutely. There's no training wheels and there's no how to do guide. So it's like, if you're smiling and laughing, then you're doing something right.
That's it. But like, that's a great first one to get back into, because obviously it was one of the biggest projects of the year that year.
Oh yeah.
In terms of comedy and zombies and stuff, like obviously makeup wise, it would have been one of the biggest of the year.
Yeah, that was huge.
And it was massively anticipated by fans as well.
I remember, and it was trying to think of the right word. It was such a um, full circle moment for me because I remember growing up, like anybody else who probably watching this show, we all remember growing up watching movies like Dawn of the Dead, movies like Reanimator and like Demons. Like, growing up with like all these like crazy horror movies and stuff, and that was definitely my entry level. But as I was growing up, catching up on that, I remember going and seeing the first Zombieland in the theater.
Single best cameo ever.
It's so good. Like everything about it, from Bill Murray's cameo all the way over to like the main cast, the effects, the comedy, it was just a perfect storm. And it came out at the right time, and it was at the time when I was really starting to be like, I think I want to do makeup effects for horror movies. And after seeing that and seeing the zombies and seeing some of I was like, man, these are the kind of movies I want to make. And I remember going to school because I went and saw the movie on Friday. So I went to school the following Monday. I was like, everyone's got to go see this movie, Zombieland. You guys it's so funny, but it's like, there's zombie. And everyone's like, dude, that's dumb. And I'm like, no, this is the kind of stuff I want to make. And everybody laughed at me. And for the rest of my high school career, everybody's like, oh my God, this guy wants to make a movie. And it was like a joke. But I was making movies with my friends in my backyard, doing makeup effects with like cheap shit from the Halloween store, and everyone's like laughing about it. And then 10 years later, I got to work on the sequel, and then I'm like,
fuck you guys.
I remember taking the selfie, and it's all over my Facebook, it's all over a lot of my social media, but I took a selfie in front of the trailer that said Zombieland
double tap
makeup department. And that's how I announced, because once I wrapped, I was allowed to say what I worked on. So I posted the selfie with that, and I said, never in a million years did I think this would happen. And everyone's like, what? It was just like, seriously, like the ultimate, like, fuck you to all the people who laughed at me for wanting to do that, or were like teasing me, like, oh, he wants to do makeup, all this girly stuff. And I'm like, dude, I get paid to play with fake blood. That's like the most metal thing in the world, So
all you needed to do was get into Dexter at that time.
Yes. Oh my God. That would have been amazing.
But yeah, like I remember really enjoying Zombieland 2 when I went to see it in the cinema. Not as much as the first one now.
Yeah.
But the first one was so out there. But then again, I don't know what way it went for yourselves back in 2004 when Shaun of the Dead came out.
Mm-hmm.
I know it didn't land quite as big in the States as it should have. But for me, like, Zombieland 2 was the closest thing to that, a zombie comedy movie that you could get.
I remember a guy my dad worked with, because I was starting to get into horror around 2004, 2005, around the time when Shaun of the Dead dropped over here.
Good times.
And I'm telling you, a guy my dad worked with had bought it and let us borrow it. He's like, you guys need to watch this movie. And at that time, I wasn't like super into zombie comedies. I was just strictly like zombie movies. So that was, the comedy hit so well. I mean, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg just like a perfect duo for real. And that movie definitely kind of changed the game for me a lot. And then when Zombieland came out, felt like that was kind of like our answer to that, to Shaun of the Dead.
Essentially, it was an Americanized zombie comedy.
It really was, and
it landed very well.
Oh, for sure. And I, even though we never got a sequel to Shaun of the Dead, I felt like getting a sequel to Zombieland 2 was like a very, a big deal, because like the 10 years fans have been waiting and like, oh, when's it gonna happen, and it's just amazing that it happened at all, and it's that all three.
It was a random drop too, wasn't it?
It was. I remember,
no one knew it was coming, and it just.
Yeah, they said, oh, hey, by the way, Zombieland 2 is now in production. Everyone's like, what? And then from like, what was it, November of 2018 until April 1st, because our last day on set was April 1st of 2019. And then we got a trailer like that in July, and then the movie was out by October. So the turnaround time on that was crazy fast. Yeah, and
it landed very well.
It did. I went to the theater opening night. I took about 10 or 15 friends with me. We all went in a group because I was working at a mall at the time. And when the mall closed, we all went to a screening that Thursday night. And the theater was packed. I mean, packed with people. Almost every showing was sold out at that mall movie theater. And yeah, I mean, people were laughing, and we all agreed. Like the first one is definitely like peak, but that was a really good sequel. And you know, for me, not having read a script, just showing up and doing makeup every day, like I didn't know what was happening. You know,
Yep.
because I was on, like I said, I was on set for a month, and the only scene we worked on was like the ending with all the zombies attacking the Tower of Babylon. That was the only scene we shot for a month. For a month, we were doing that one scene, and it's like 10 minutes of the movie. I'm like, wow, I wish the indie movies had enough money to work on a scene for a whole month. That would be awesome.
That would be swell.
It was, dude, it was crazy. But that's all I really knew about the movie, is that there are these new zombies called T-800s. I knew about Jesse Eisenberg's character proposing to Emma Stone's character because it's like I saw it happen. But like I was under a heavy NDA contract that if I posted any pictures I took, if I had done like anything lawsuit central, you know, I will show you a picture right here on air right now. Um, we were on set, and it was the day they brought out the monster truck, and they were doing like the donuts and like lighting everything
Oh,
on.
nice.
And after they flipped it, everybody took a break for lunch, and I kind of snuck out to set. Well, with one of my friends, we were kind of taking a walk, and I was like, "Hey, I know we're not supposed to do this, but can you take my picture for me?" And they're like, "What? What do you want?" I was like, "I want my picture in front of the monster truck." So I got a picture in front of the monster truck, and they're like, "You cannot post it." And I was like, "I won't." They're like, "Not till the movie's out." I was like, "I won't. It's fine. I promise you, I won't show anything."
I'm too broke to post it.
I if they want to sue me, they're gonna have to cut my kidneys out, man, because I ain't got no money. So I took the picture, and the day the movie dropped, that Friday, that was the first thing I posted. I was like, "Zombieland's out, everyone go see it. And look at this picture of me in front of the monster truck. You'll know what this means when you see the movie." But yeah, I mean, I could have gotten in like serious trouble for doing that, but I couldn't help it. You're not going to be on a movie that big and not like take at least one goofy picture. So
Absolutely.
I had to.
But as you said, that's a hell of a one to be on. But knitting down into the indie scene now, which is blowing up extremely well, isn't it? And a lot of time, a lot of work being done, obviously by Terrifier breaking ground, or Terrifier 2 really
Yeah.
breaking the ground for indie movies. Obviously, we had a few others along the way as well. But like for the likes of Terrifier running against Halloween, indie movies have just exploded.
They have. I've said on a couple other podcasts over the last
You've
couple
done
years.
other podcasts?
I
What happened? I
do.
thought we were supposed to be friends.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I've been cheating on you this whole time. When I get on these things, I love talking about the indie scene because I felt like from 2019 into 2020, it felt like that's when crowdfunding was really kind of lifting off and kind of getting on its feet. And I feel like I was telling a lot of people, you know, indie film, the quality of film we're making, you know, the stories and getting some of these professionals in, I was like, you know, there's a desire for this. Horror has become so mainstream in a way, and it's so popular that people are like seeking out all these obscure indie films and classics. And I was like, you know, back in the 80s, a lot of people don't think about this, but like when a movie like Friday the 13th or the first Nightmare on Elm Street, when those started production, those were considered independent films. And they just got picked up.
I've brought that up on a few occasions.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nightmare on Elm Street got picked up by New Line, but in a way, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, but it's with New Line." But Nightmare on Elm Street saved New Line cinema. Without Nightmare on Elm Street, you don't have Lord of the Rings.
Absolutely, you know, and it's like I feel like we're in a time much like then where filmmaking has become so accessible, and you have a lot of people like myself and all my friends that I'll bring up here included that have grown up wanting to make movies, and now that we have adult money we could just spend it on goofy shit like cameras. We're like, fuck it, man, we're gonna make a goddamn movie, let's go. And but then for a fan like yourself or like any of these other people I hear contributing to these Indiegogo campaigns, they're like, you know what? This is a movie I want to see get made. I'm going to throw you some money so you can make it happen, and you're going to give me something in return. And it's been such a like fans making the movies that fans want to see, and I feel like it's been picking up. But Terrifier took it to a whole new level, and I feel like they not only played the long game with like All Hallows Eve and the first Terrifier and that picking up steam, and when it came time to do that sequel, it was a perfect storm, and that was the catalyst that has catapulted all these other movies into the success that they have. And it's amazing because I remember working with Fuzz on the Lens and I brought this up before we launched back in 2013 on Fear Clinic, because they had produced Fear Clinic, and that's how I met like Michael Levy and Jason and like all those guys was through Fear Clinic. And then to see Terrifier take off that they produced, I'm like, holy shit, I know those guys, and it's like everybody's like 1 degree of separation from that. So it's like when they win, that wasn't just a win for them. That wasn't just a win for Terrifier and for Damien, but that was a win for the indie scene as a whole, because it shows what is possible. When they went out there and they were winning and they were doing that, they did that for themselves. They did that for the indie scene. They did that for all of us to show that no, horror is not just some bullshit that's for kids. Horror is not dead. People want to see independent. They want to see new ideas. They want to see stuff that's fresh and entertaining. And we're proving that. And we're also showing that you don't need millions of dollars to make a movie. And for people to enjoy it, and for movies to make money. And you know what? It also shows theaters are not dead. People will still go out for that theater experience.
Absolutely. I love going to the cinema.
Dude, same. And it was just to have that cinematic experience with something like Terrifier 2, like, come on, so it was just a perfect storm. And I've said it once and I'll say it 1,000 times. We're in an independent film renaissance right now, and it's not going away anytime soon. And I think it's just going to keep blowing up. I really do.
I'm thinking about it. I've always mentioned, obviously, Terrifier. Main one, Stephen Lamart's main one, ran against Avatar at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
and boxed well. But thinking back, 2009 was the first Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Was another really big indie film that blew up. That's probably the most successful one, really, when you look at it. Was it 250 grand, or sorry, 25 grand, and it boxed 153 million.
It's insane to me. And I think there's so many outlets. Like, I remember, because I wasn't quite old enough to see an R-rated movie at that time. I think I was like a year away. So it was like, I snuck into the theater to see that one. And watching it, I remember thinking like, dude, anybody could make this movie. This is insane. And it was the right idea with the perfect marketing. And it was just, it just hit at the right time. And I feel like, again, that blew up. And I feel like that was a point where a lot of movies on an independent level with like lower budgets were starting to get picked up, get bigger budgets, and kind of blow up from there. And like A24 starting as like independent and kind of getting bigger like they have, that's been cool to see. But that's still been so obtainable because they've been like on that level of independent where you still have $2 or $3 million,
Yeah.
But you take a movie like Terrifier, which has a couple 100,000, or a movie more so like Paranormal Activity, where it's less than 50,000, and then you're able to make all that money with just a good idea and the right people to back it, and a good marketing campaign. And that's all it takes, man. Like, I'm old enough that I do vaguely remember like the Blair Witch when that came out, and
no, go ahead.
Yeah, well, and it's just like, I remember even as a kid being like, is this real? Because it's like, that's how they marketed that, because there wasn't much like that at that time. And it's just like, there's been so many points where movies made on like no money have blown up, and then it's just kicked something off. And I feel like we're kind of in a new cycle with that it's with overly gory, crazy slashers, which is, come on, that's what we all want to see.
So I got asked this before. It was actually off camera when it got brought up to me, right? And we were obviously gone back to Terrifier. You've gone back to Paranormal Activity. They were like, "How much money do you reckon Blair Witch would make today?" And I was like, "It wouldn't make nearly as much because there's social media, there's internet widely available. When they brought that out, it was at a time when internet wasn't huge. You couldn't
Absolutely.
look up every single detail of a film
Yeah.
before it comes out, and they marketed that to perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
And
you bring that out now, it doesn't work.
and you know what? I've had almost that same conversation with people verbatim working in record stores and movie stores over the years, that it's like that movie wouldn't do as well because it banked on not being able to know. Whereas
Yeah,
now,
these people were missing.
absolutely. And whereas now social media would have killed that marketing campaign in 3 days. It would have
Yeah,
been. Now social media has aided movies like Terrifier because you have all these posts like, oh,
yeah.
this dude passed out, this person threw it. So people are like, oh, what is this movie? So it's like, it's kind of like a give and take in a way, where it's like, in some ways social media would have ruined these older movies, but in ways today it's kind of helped make these movies blow up,
The cult following that it's brought. But you touched
Absolutely.
you touched on a point there a second ago for these crazy gory slashers. I said in the intro that you might have seen me posting about late checkout recently.
Yeah.
So let's move to this one. Obviously, Josh Graves' uh,
Yeah.
upcoming homage, mental slasher, everything.
It's got a
I'm
little
not.
bit
I'm not sure.
It's got a little bit of everything going on. Yeah. So this is Josh Graves' second film. His first one being The House That Eats Flesh, which has not been released. So technically, this is his
It's his,
first
his second
film.
movie, first release.
Yeah, because so House That Eats Flesh, which I was not attached to, but it is currently they're working with distribution to get that released. But we had a quicker turnaround on Late Checkout, because Late Checkout, we filmed that the first 2.5 weeks of May in 2022. So it's been just over a year, and it's completely edited, and we're having the premiere on August 11th in a couple states away from me. So very quick turnaround on that, but it is, when he had approached me, and he's like, listen, I've been seeing your pictures, I've seen your work. He's like, I want you to do this movie at the time called Sawzall. And he's like, it's over the top, bodily dismemberment, gore. He's like, I want it to be crazy. And I was like, I got you. And so I read the script, and at that time it was just an outline. And I was like, I think he got something here. So he teamed up with Molly, who he had attached to the film, who became a writer. And we went through a couple different drafts, including a cease and desist from what was it, Milwaukee. They're like, you can't use the name Sawzall. So we're like, all right. And then it was like Late Checkout, and I don't remember who came up with the name, but it's a great
It's
name.
there.
It's there.
It's a good change.
That is a good change. So we got an ensemble cast with that, a great team behind the camera with my buddy Jaron, who's become a really good friend of mine. Jaron, Molly, and myself became producers on it and started bringing more people involved. We ended up getting Felissa Rose, Cheney Morrow from, Haunt and Malum. We got Elsie Holt from Your Next. We had
a lot of friends of the show along the way.
A lot of friends, and at one point we had Hannah Fearman from VHS and my buddy Drew Fortier, who's a musician. Were set to be in the film, but they had to drop out due to personal reasons, and it was nothing bad. It was just some stuff came up. Well, look,
Things happen.
it was bad for him. Drew at the time, he was diagnosed with cancer, and he had going through a process of like surgery and stuff for that, and he ended up recovering, so he's all great now, which is awesome.
Good. Great to hear.
And then, Hannah had some personal stuff going on at the time, so it just didn't work, and that's how we ended up getting Anna Clary from Mutilator 2, because Cheney had just wrapped on Mutilator 2 because both the movies were filming at the same time, and like no joke, like an hour and a half from each other. Like we were both filming in like the same state. It was crazy.
North
And
Carolina, was it?
North Carolina, yeah. And so Cheney was like, well, hey, I just worked with this girl, Anna. She lives in Asheville, like 20 minutes away. We should have her do it. We called her in. She showed up and she learned all her parts with like 12-hour notice. Like we needed her on set in 12 hours. She learned that shit like overnight. It was fucking bonkers. So, you know, it was just crazy.
She's supremely talented.
No, she's a beast, dude. And it's funny because what had happened was I had worked on Dark Circles in the fall of 2021, and it was right after Dark Circles when Josh hit me up. So at this point I had befriended Hannah. I was friends with Phyllis and Dan Kearney, and so going into late checkout kind of pulled that group. But then Josh and I hired Jaron, who I had worked with 2 times prior on a short film and then a feature called They See You. And so it was like we were like just kind of like hodgepodging this group together, and like Cheney's bringing in Anna, and then my friend Cassidy, who was my makeup assistant, brings in Brandon, who played her boyfriend in the film.
He was fucking brilliant.
It worked out so good, you know, and I was very happy with that. And I mean, it was just like again one of those perfect storms. It was a dream team, and we all had a ton of fun on set. Everyone was so much fun to work with. Everybody killed their parts, and there was a lot of blood.
We killed their parts. Good pun intended.
Oh my gosh! So I'm trying to think. So we used 8 gallons of blood, which is like a lot. So like I had 8 of these full, and when I left, they were empty. Like,
why do you just have a gallon of fake blood beside you?
It's funny you mentioned that. I'm gonna dump it on myself at the end of the show. No, I'm actually.
I mean, I think you should.
Maybe. I'm actually in my FX studio right now. That's where I do all my stuff. So it's just chilling on a shelf right there. But we used 8 gallons of that. There was one kill specifically that we used 2 gallons total for. And both our camera guys had ponchos, and they were covered in blood.
I can imagine which one it was, but I'm not going to say.
Yeah, it's that one. It was crazy, and that's probably my favorite kill in the movie. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to ruin it. But
you just ruined it. You just told people there's a kill in a horror movie.
Oh no! Yeah,
you fucked it up.
I hate to spoil this for you guys, but people do die in this movie, and in very disturbing fashion. It's funny. There was one kill, and we used this as like a social media campaign for the movie. So there was a kill we did, and it was the second day on set, and everybody was so uncomfortable with the way it was filmed and that actor's performance that we had 2 more scenes to shoot that night. We pushed them to the next day because we were like, that was kind of a bummer. I didn't really like that. Yeah. And so we stopped filming that night, and then we started watching funny YouTube videos to like lift our spirits up again, because we were like, that was a bummer, man. I will find, it's funny because our BTS person got a photo of the crew's faces while we were filming and how disturbed everyone was, and we posted it.
The picture doesn't give that away, does it?
No, the picture gives nothing away. All you see in the picture is the reactions of people watching the kill happen, and it is hilarious. It's one of my favorite pictures that's ever been taken on a movie set. And there's days where it's like, if I'm feeling kind of sad, I'll look back at this picture, and it lives rent free in my head. So what what you have here?
So by this picture, I should be able to work out which kill it was.
You probably can. So what you have here is you have Cassidy, who is hair and makeup, Sabrina holding the boom for sound, and then Jakey, Let's Go, who is on B cam, and everybody is just like horrified. Like the look on Sabrina's and Cassidy's over here like rethinking every decision she's ever made in her life. Like,
why did I sign up to this?
Dude, it was hilarious. It was a good time though. That was a ton of fun. And the thing that I can't commend Josh on enough was, and going into that movie, he was like, when he sent me the script for shooting, he's like, listen, I'm gonna leave these kills very simple. Like, this person gets disemboweled, this person gets their throat cut, and he's like, this person gets this person gets that. He's like, I want you to make these kills as
Better.
graphic as you can with the budget we have. He's like, stretch it as far as you can. And when it came time to shoot those scenes, he was like, do you want to like kind of direct these? He's like, with me, he's like, and I was like, dude, I don't want to step on it. He's like, no, for real. He's like, this is your thing. He's like, I want you to bring your vision to life. So he kind of let me take the reins on some of that stuff, which was super awesome. And he's one of the only directors that's ever given me that level of control over how my effects were shot. And I felt like with the way Josh and I communicated, the way I was communicating with Jaron, and the way they were, it was like a really good trifecta, and we were able to get some really effective scenes. And there was actually a couple parts where I was like, keep it rolling. And he's like, are you gonna call cut? I was like, eventually. I was like, yeah, keep it. And he's like, dude, this is too much. I was like, it's not enough. We gotta keep it right. So like,
You were doing that
dude, I was like, no,
Jack Nicholson from The Departed.
it was more. It was crazy, dude. But that was a really cool experience, being able to do that, and it kind of gave me confidence because I've always wanted to direct. So that kind of gave me more confidence in realizing, hey, I could direct something someday, I think, and eventually we're going to do that. But it was a ton of fun, and I'm glad that I got to work with all those people on that project and met people like Anna and Molly, Josh, and that's how I met Cheney and LC. And that movie, wow, Cheney, LC, Dan, and Felissa, working with all of them in one big setting, that's actually how I got the job on Watchdog, because that was LC's second. He was directing, and it was starring Cheney, and Felissa is in it as well, and Dan is in it, and then we had Wes Robinson from the 2016 Blair Witch. He plays a lead in that as well. So it's like this group that, and like you had mentioned kind of when we first launched this off, we're all kind of sticking together, and it's like as we find people we like, we just take them to the next project.
I've noticed that quite a bit. Obviously having gone through the Mutilator cast and branching off from them to a few others, they tend to work quite closely with each other. Obviously, like you've seen Damien and Cheney do, I think 3 or 4 films, maybe more.
Yeah.
Anna's now kicked off with, that's 2 or 3 with Cheney now. And obviously from Mutilator, she's worked now with Dan on The Woodman.
Yeah.
And things like that. So it's great to see.
It is.
What I brought up on a few things was, you see chemistry between people.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously you see the great comedy duos throughout the years, say Laurel and Hardy and stuff. They had natural comedy together, so it worked quite well. But when you see certain people put together and it doesn't work, even though they're acting, you can tell that it's not quite there.
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you have that chemistry. And that's what's kind of cool about doing these movies, because we're all staying in the same Airbnb together. So it's like we're having fun when we're not filming. We're goofing around, we're chilling in a hot tub, we're watching movies together, we're telling stories, eating every meal together, and just like hanging out. And as you become friends on set, I feel like as we're all getting along, it does translate on screen, because it's like, yeah, we're all around each other, we all know each other, and so it just works, And I think, man, because after Anna did that, trying to think what her next movie was after that, because I know she worked with Bobby Canopy.
Worked on Grandma.
Yeah, they worked together on Grandma, and then I remember.
Still waiting to see that.
Yeah, I remember. I recommended her to Matt Cloud for Coffin Tooth, and she ended up getting that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's been cool seeing her do that. I was supposed to do FX on The Woodman, no joke, but
Nice.
I ended up not being able to just because of scheduling conflicts. But
Obviously,
yeah,
friend of the show, Jake Robinson's doing photography on that as well.
yeah, Jake's awesome, dude. I love
We're,
Jake, and
we're actually due. Myself and Ian are due to be in his upcoming movie, My Brother's Keeper.
oh yes, that'll be awesome, dude.
We're doing a voiceover for him.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, he's super great. Hunter Nino, who works with him a lot. I worked with Hunter on Macabre Mountain, and that's how I met him. And like I said, it's just such a weird community, and we all like end up working with each other. And if you haven't worked with someone, you're friends with them on Facebook, or you're like I said, like 1 degree of separation from that person. Like, oh yeah, I know that person because this person worked with them, and then you end up working together. You've had Eric Six.
Yeah.
I worked with him on a movie called Window with a View. So like,
Eric's sound.
Yeah, he's so awesome. It's just like I said, it's just everybody knows everybody. We all hang out. Most of us are all friends with each other, and so it's like it kind of goes back to what I was saying about like Terrifier 2 blowing up. It's like it wasn't just a win for them; it was a win for the community as a whole because we all know each other. We're all friends and we all hang out and work together, and so it's cool to see everybody succeeding. And like when you do work on something, someone hits you up and be like, "Oh, I saw you worked with this person. What do you think of them?" It's like, "Oh, dude, hire that person. They're so awesome." And
no, don't hire that person. Hire me.
Don't hire them. Hire me. I'm way cooler than that person. But and that was cool about meeting Bobby, because we did right after Late Checkout was the proof of concept for House Among the Trees, and Bobby and I had been friends on Facebook for like 2 years, but had never met. And then we met on. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And immediately from the moment we saw each other, just took off. And we were talking too much to where the sound people were like, dude, you gotta like shut up while we're filming. Like, shut up. And it's like, we can't, we're talking music and movies. We can't stop, but it's, like I said, it's just a snowball effect, and now at this point, there's some of these people that are like some of my best friends that I've become closer with than even friends I've been with for 10 or 15 years, and it's just an amazing community, getting to work with like people like, Felissa Rose, people like Cheney Morrow and Elsie Holt and Damien Maffei and Hannah Fairman. It's like these people have become friends that I like. Hannah Fairman and I like text on a regular basis, and I'm like, dude, this is just kind of weird, man. It's just like
I've spoke to her on Insta a couple of times. I reached out to try and get her to come on, but she was too busy.
Yeah, she is a busy bee, man. She's always got, if she's not at a con, she's filming something. Like the amount of times she's like, we should get together, go kayaking. I'm like, we totally should.
No,
when are you ever free ever? Like, dude, she always brings it up. I'm like, dude, listen, I'm free whenever. You just got to tell me when you're like actually around for us to do this, But
so that would be that'd be the 31st of February at some stage.
Yeah. So I was like, let's plan something a year in advance. Put it in your calendar. Don't forget it. So yeah, it's just been such a cool thing, and recently, kind of coming to like a pinnacle because Jaron, the DP from Late Checkout, and myself, along with the sound guy Alberto, we were flown out to Los Angeles this past May. No, April. Was it May? Yes, it was May because it was right before I went to Europe. So this past May, we were out there for 3.5 weeks doing the movie Crust. And Crust is the directorial debut of Sean Whalen. And now growing up, I love Twister. So getting to work with Sean Whalen was like, hell yeah.
Good movie.
But it also has Felissa Rose is in it. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in it. And then we also had Alan Ruck. Alan Ruck was in it. And I'm like, dude.
Ferris Bueller.
Holy cow. Like, you're kidding me.
Speed.
It was crazy. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. And Sean, when he called me back in January to offer me the position, offer it to me. He was like, hey, this is open. Would you be interested? I'm like, yes, let's talk about it. So we called, and he's like, this is a real personal project to me. I wrote it in a time of heartbreak, and, kind of gave me the whole spiel on it. And he's like, we're going to shoot it in black and white. And I'm like, what? that's crazy, you know. And oh yeah, Daniel Roebuck, Grandpa Munster from the remake is in it,
We
you
don't
know, and
we
he's
don't
been
we don't talk about that remake.
oh my gosh, yeah, I'll have to tell you all about that. But cool dude, you know. And it's like, again, he's like, you know, we have Daniel Roebuck, we have, you know, Alan Rock, myself, Felissa, and he's like, you ran it, and tell me all these people that are in it. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And so Jaron and I, you know, talking about this film and prepping for it. I'm like, man, it's so crazy to think that you know, you get to that point where, you know, you're working with all these people and you make this little community, and then you just start doing every project
Snowball.
together, you
But that
know.
that really shows though, like you're only really one person away from or meeting one person away from meeting somebody else
Yeah.
to making it huge.
Oh, for sure. And you know, you know, we all want to be known for the work we do. You know, we all want to see our projects is we're all contributing to a film. You know, I do my thing, Jaron does his, Sean's doing his thing, Felissa does her thing, Anna does. We all do our own thing, but we're working together. We're all taking a piece of our heart and soul and putting it into this project. And it's like we want to see it live its best life. It's like a baby. It's our baby. You know, we want to see it grow and flourish and do something cool. And you know, I was just talking with Josh Graves today about late checkout and getting distribution for that. It's like at the end of the day, making money on it, awesome, you know, but it's like the
You want the
connection,
best for the movie.
you know, you want the best for the movie. I personally, I want to meet cool people. I want to make awesome stuff with those people. And I want these movies to be seen and cherished by people. I want people to enjoy these just like I enjoyed stuff growing up, you know. And it feels like we're at a place where we're finally getting to do that. You know, we're working with people we grew up enjoying and working with them, becoming friends with them, but then also making new memories and new films with those people. And a lot of these people, it's like their passion projects. Like I said, this movie Crust, and I, a little biased, but I do think it's going to be a pretty big deal. And
No, but like there you mentioned a couple of people, right? So you say Felissa
yeah,
Rose, you say Alan Ruck. So
mm-hmm,
people that grew up sort of the 80s and 90s
mm-hmm,
would know these people. Obviously, Cameron from Ferris Bueller.
yeah,
You've got Felissa Rose from, sorry, excuse me, from Sleepaway Camp. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Obviously Daniel Roebuck is the monsters, but we don't talk about that.
He's been in like a million things, you know.
Yeah, he's
He's
in there. Just turn on something on Sky Horror or the horror channel. And I'm pretty sure you'll see him somewhere along the way.
oh, guaranteed.
There, you're getting to work with people that you watched growing up, and now you're working alongside them. Do you know what I mean? Like you think about Alan Ruck, he worked alongside Keanu Reeves in Speed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like as I said, it's only one person away from, like, you could be working with this person, and all of a sudden their next movie is, say, with Spielberg,
Mm-hmm.
and he needs,
It,
not that that
you
man
never.
needs anything. Do you know what I mean?
It,
Not that that man needs anything, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, no big deal. But it is kind of like a pinch me moment because it's like, okay, it's crazy. Like I said, it's that 1 degree of separation. When I worked on Dark Circles in 2021, I never thought that within 2 years of that, I would have worked on like 7 projects with Felissa. I never would have thought that I'd get flown out to LA to work with, you know, Alan Ruck and on something. And I'm like, dude, this guy's like doing big stuff, you know. And it's like, again, like you said, you're working with people that you grew up enjoying, and it's kind of a bizarre feeling, but it's a good feeling. And knowing that I get to contribute to something that they're a part of, that they're also passionate about, that people will get to enjoy, is that's like the ultimate satisfaction to me. Is just like, okay, I get to create art with these people on that level, and that's just like, that's satisfying.
I think that's probably a good place to maybe wind up a little bit now.
Mhm.
Obviously you've done a lot of movies now, and one that I mentioned earlier that I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing is the return of Shelley Duvall from
Mhm.
Forest Hills. Um, it's intriguing to see her come back after so long away. Obviously we've seen that at times. Obviously Felissa came back to the genre. Lynn Shade came back after doing some random things and having a resurgence in her career again. So it's good to see these people coming back. Um, But so that's kind of leading me on to my point now is there's certain movies that have obviously made people ridiculously famous. Obviously, you take Shelley Duvall, obviously The Shining and Popeye, but we don't talk about that either. Um, but as I says, like you're only one person away. Like think about it. Like obviously, I know you can't work with Robin Williams now, but she worked with Robin Williams.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And things like
it's
that. It's mad
crazy.
how close you're getting to being on a huge project. Like our first guest
Yeah,
was a special effects was with our very first guest was a special effects mastermind Nick Benson.
yeah.
And he got to work with the likes of Robert Englund and stuff as well. So like it's crazy when like even the guests that we've gotten, how close we're being to obviously the special effects. I always maintain behind the scenes just as important.
Hmm.
They don't get enough of the credit, but like there's me. I've spoke to himself, yourself. You've worked with Felissa Rose. I've tried to get her on. We've tried to get other people on. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like it's just mad how close you're getting, and
Yeah,
all it takes is one person to break it.
it does, and and it's just like Nick that you brought up. It's like, well, God, I'm 1 degree separation with him. We both worked with Robert Englund. Like, it just to your point, it's crazy, and that I think my goal is obviously to continue to grow and hone in on my craft and work on bigger stuff as I go. And the goal, I think, and a lot of us have this, is to pull all these people with us. We just keep pulling everyone else to the top with us, and I think that's why it's important that we're all sticking together and the community stays as tight knit as we are, because it's like I said, if one of us wins, we're all winning because we all know each other and we're just going to keep pulling each other with us, And with the Forest Hills, that was such a random score for me because I did so. It's filmed in like multiple blocks. They started filming it last year. They filmed for a couple weeks, and then later in the year they filmed for a couple weeks, and then they were doing like some reshoots. And I had just craziest thing. I had been friends with their DP Scott Hansen, who's done music videos for like every band ever with Digital Thunderdome. And I met him very briefly. I was delivering a generator he had to a production in Georgia, and we met. We talked. And he had seen my work, I've seen his work, and we're like, man, we got to work together sometime. And he's like, well, let me send you some stuff. And randomly one day he sends me an email, and he's like, hey, because just to backtrack a smidge, I did apply to work on the Forest Hills when it got announced, and I didn't. There was conflict, and I wasn't able to. But randomly, about a month after meeting him for the first time in Georgia, Hansen messaged me. He's like, hey, I have the director Scott Goldberg CC'd in here. We need someone to come help us with some reshoots we're doing in it down here in Atlanta here in like 2 weeks. Would you be available? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, it's just some small stuff, blah, 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 this, and this. And I was like, yeah, man. Like, they're like, here's the rate. And I'm like, dude, say less. Like, get me on it. I did not get to meet Shelley Duvall. In fact, she was not involved with the reshoots I was involved with. But I did get to meet some really amazing people. I mean, Chico Mendez, who's in it, is fantastic. Crystal Gorski, I think is how you say her last name.
Yeah.
She's super awesome.
We've done an interview with her.
Yeah, dude, she's awesome. I love Crystal. And, it's just, I've met some really cool people. And one of the makeups I actually did, I'll actually pull this up because I have it right here. Fangoria has been using to kind of promote an upcoming film festival that they're doing. This makeup's been getting posted all over the place. But
is it the black tar one? Yeah.
The demon face. Yeah. So it's like, and again, I never thought that A, I would get to work on that movie, but then B, getting to create something that's been iconic enough that like Fangoria's like, yeah, we want to share that. I'm like, dude, I've been reading Fangoria since I was like knee high to a grasshopper, and like here it is, just like what? It's crazy, and just because of that one interaction that I had with Scott Goldberg, where I was picking up a generator and taking it to another production, that just kind of snowballed into that, and again, getting to meet so many cool people that I know I'm going to get to continue to work with, and that's just a really satisfying feeling, and So it's Forest Hills was a ton of fun. I'm excited to see the finished product with that. I mean, with all these movies. I mean, Watchdog, which is one I've not.
Can't see that.
Oh, dude, I've not talked nearly enough about Watchdog. That movie was so much fun to film, and it is like I cannot in words express how intense. I could top secret. I have seen the movie, and I'm telling you, it's.
I wouldn't mind.
Good.
We spoke to LC. We done the interview with LC about a week or two. No, sorry, a month or two just before he went to start filming.
Gotcha. Oh, dude, he was so excited, and he was so passionate about that movie that like. There's been very few times where I've talked to a director that knows their script forward, backward, and sideways. Like, it's like he had the whole movie in his head, and he had it. I mean, just he was so passionate and excited about that movie that I think it was impossible for anyone on it to not be as amped as he was, because it just it was unlike anything I've ever been involved with. And I can say with full confidence, I think LC might be the best director I've ever worked for in my life. Like, he was spectacular to work with, and I would do it a million times over. He was so good to work with. I hate to be biased like that. I'm sorry to all my director friends that are watching this. I love you all so much, but LC is the fucking bomb.
He's a top man.
He is. He's a gentleman and a scholar through and through.
We reached out on Instagram to him, and I didn't know if it was the real page or not. When he responded, I was like, "Is this the real LC?" It was.
He's so cool, man, and he's so easy to talk to, so down to earth.
Yeah, we had a great conversation with him. It was probably got to 2 hours.
Oh yeah, dude, and that's a funny thing. Is our first time meeting was actually on late checkout, and I forget. I was wearing some comic book T-shirt, like some weird like Lady Death or something like that, and he had commented on it, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm kind of like a comic book fan," and we got to talk about comics, and that was what kicked us off. Normally on movie sets, we'll vibe on music or we'll vibe on movies, but like he's like a huge comic book nerd. I was like, "Dude, so am I." So we just start like going off on that, and that was when I knew. I was like, "Okay, LC is like top notch," and when he offered me Watchdog, I did not even I'm pretty sure I sent the yes email back to him before I even read the whole email where he offered me the gig. I was just like, yes.
Dear
yes.
Deryk, yes.
Yes.
The next line read, "We regret to inform you."
They're like, "You didn't get the job, dude." And I'm like, oh sorry. But
I got the job. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah, well, you're gonna hire me. But we did weekly production calls on that, and everyone was just so excited and so ready, and the anticipation of getting up to work on that, and it wasn't just the production, but like again, teaming up with him and Cheney and Felissa and Celeste and Jake and Wes, but also getting to work with Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, who was so awesome to work with, really cool dude. And it's just seeing, again, the dynamic that he and Felissa have in this movie. Nobody's ready for it. It's so good. You'll see what I mean when you see the movie. I don't want to say too much, but
no, I'd rather not. I almost had. I've put people when I'm doing the mute letter one. I've put the warning to them, being like, "If you ruin this, I will find you and I will kill you."
We already know I live in Ohio, and it's just one big cornfield. You'll find me easy enough. But yeah, I don't want to say too much, but their dynamic is great. And again, just it's a very small cast in that movie. It's very small. Everybody's dynamic is just, it's so believable and it's so genuine, and it makes it all the more haunting when you do see some of the events that take place. And I really think Watchdog as well as Crust, I think those are the two that are going to make some really, really big waves within the scene. All these movies, I want to see all of these movies succeed, and it's like, I think they're also wildly different, that I think it's just nobody's fully prepared, because you're going to have Late Checkout come out and it's so wildly different from Watchdog, and then that's going to hit and people are like, whoa. And then, it's just nobody's prepared for just the magnitude of what's going to happen with these movies. Truly, I do believe so.
I think it's a good place to leave it for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to keep you all night.
Oh
I mean,
no.
we were having a conversation probably about an hour before we even came on, so
Yeah. So let me
um
end it with that. That be on the lookout for these movies, people, because I could sit here and talk all night about it, but I think you're all going to be very, very pleased with some of these projects. That's good
I'm
stuff.
I'm 100% sure that they'll all be fucking awesome. Once I get a chance to check them out,
Yeah.
obviously because we live over here in shithole of Europe, where we don't actually seem to have any of the indie horrors come out, and I'm dependent on nice directors sending me screeners and stuff.
hopefully
So
we can get a screener for Watchdog. I really want to get your opinions on that one for sure.
I mean, I gave you my opinions about Late Checkout, which I'm not going to give here, obviously, because it's not out yet. But
You got
Josh was nice enough to send me one, because he's a top bloke like that,
absolutely,
with some help from himself there.
absolutely. So
But I've got a question for you, right?
yes.
Just before we finish, give me your top 5 horror movies.
Oh God.
They
Oh
don't
man.
necessarily have to be in order, but just the
Okay.
top 5.
Okay. I can do that. So Reanimator for sure.
Oh, the
Love
Dynamo will love you.
Dude, I fucking love Reanimator. Rec 2.
Oh,
Rec 2.
I'm more of a 1 fan than a 2 fan.
See,
2 was good though.
I think 1 and 2 together are like a perfect pairing. I like 2 just a smidge more. That whole
It's certainly an easier watch.
yeah. I like all of them, but I think Edge goes to 2. Those 2 for sure. I'm gonna throw a newer one out there, and people might get mad, say this isn't a horror movie. I think it's definitely a horror movie. Green Room. I love Green Room.
I can get the horror vibes from it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't count it as a horror myself, but I'll
it's
allow
like
it.
that edge, right on that edge. Um, Day of the Dead. George Romero's Day of the Dead. That was one of the first zombie movies I saw that had me like, I should do makeup. And I'll throw another newer one out here, just because it's one that really stuck with me and I loved it a lot. And again, people might be like, not super horror, but I think it is. Mandy. I loved Mandy
That's the
so
Nick
much.
Cage one.
The Nick Cage movie. Loved
It's good,
that
isn't
one.
it? It's
It
good.
is so good, so good. And I would say honorable mention to the Maniac remake with Elijah Wood. I like it.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
Good one. Oh God, that one messed me up. But my favorites always change. But I will say the 2 that are always up there and will never come off are definitely Day of the Dead and Reanimator, because those were very impactful for me growing up. So I love them.
My top 2 haven't changed in years.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear
Nightmare
them.
on Elm Street #1.
Mm-hmm.
First horror movie I ever seen. Well, that I remember.
Oh hell yeah,
And Dog Soldiers.
dude! I just rewatched Dog Soldiers maybe a week ago, and dude, I revisit it 2 or 3 times a year because it's just so much fun. I love that movie.
Now that's gonna lead us to the question I ask every guest.
Oh yeah.
American Werewolf in London or Dog Soldiers? Which one's better?
I'm gonna get so much hate for this. I'm gonna get so much, but Dog Soldiers.
Why would you get hate for that? That's just common knowledge.
You know what? But here's the thing: people ask me this one all the time: The Howling or American Werewolf, and I go The Howling. I prefer that one.
So, I prefer American Werewolf's movie, and obviously the Kessler Wolf is iconic, but the werewolf from The Howling is better.
I agree.
Like if the Kessler Wolf had been on 2 legs,
Oh,
it's hands down.
yeah.
Like I'd still go American Werewolf over The Howling. Like, Dog Soldiers #1, American Werewolf is 2, Viking Wolf 3, and The Howling is 4 for me in terms of werewolf movies.
I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna watch Viking Wolf this weekend, and I'm gonna let you know what I think, because I need.
But yeah, I think that's where we leave it. That puts us well ahead again, King.
Absolutely. This has been awesome. Great talking
Deryk,
with you.
it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. And anytime you want to come back, even if it's not about one of your movies, just want to come on and chat horror, you know where we are.
I will take you up on that.
Same bad place, same bad time, same bad channel. 10 p.m.
Absolutely.
Friday night. And I'll finish this the way I finish every single Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. In the words of the great George A. Romero, stay scared.